Hello. This is the final chapter of the Phantom Tollbooth, Chapter 20. Goodbye and hello. As the pleasant countryside flashed by and the wind whistled a tune on the windshield, it suddenly occurred to Milo that he must have been gone for several weeks. I do hope that nobody's worried, he thought, urging the car on faster. I've never been away this long before. The late afternoon sun had turned now from a vivid yellow to a warm, lazy orange, and it seemed almost as tired as he was. The road raced ahead in a series of gentle curves that began to look familiar, and off in the distance, the solitary toll booth appeared, a welcome sight indeed. In a few minutes, he reached the end of his journey, deposited his coin, and drove through. And almost without realizing it, he was sitting in the middle of his own room again. It's only 6 o'clock, he observed with a yawn. And then, in a moment, he made an even more interesting discovery. It's still today! I've only been gone for an hour! He cried in amazement, for he'd certainly never realized how much he could do in so short a time. Milo was much too tired to talk and almost too tired for dinner, so without a murmur, he simply went off to bed as soon as he could. He pulled the covers around him, took one last look around his room, which somehow seemed very different than he'd remembered, and then drifted off into a deep and welcome sleep. School went by very quickly the next day, but not quickly enough, for Milo's head was full of plans and his ideas, and his eyes could only see the toll booth and what lay beyond. He waited impatiently for the end of class, and when time finally came, his feet raced, his thoughts, all the way back to the house. Another trip. I'll leave right away. They'll be so glad to see me again. He stopped abruptly at the door of his room, for where the toll booth had been just the night before, there was now nothing at all. He searched frantically throughout the entire apartment, but it had just vanished, as mysteriously as it had come. And in its place, on the floor, was another bright blue envelope, which was addressed simply, "For Milo, who now knows the way." He opened it quickly and read, "Dear Milo, you have now completed your trip courtesy of the Phantom Tollbooth. We trust that everything has been satisfactory and hope you understand why we had to come and collect it. You see, there are so many other boys and girls waiting to use it too. It's true that there are many lands you've still to visit, some of which are not even on the map, and wonderful things to see that no one else has yet imagined. But we are quite sure that if you really want to, you'll find a way to reach them all by yourself. Yours truly." The signature was blurred and he couldn't read it. Milo walked sadly over to the window and squeezed himself into one corner of the large armchair. He suddenly felt very lonely and desolate as his thoughts turned far away to the foolish, lovable humbug and the comforting assurance of Talk standing next to him, the erratic and excitable Din, to little Alec, who he hoped would someday reach the ground, to Rhyme and Reason, without whom wisdom withered, and the many, many others who he would remember always. And yet, even as he thought of all these things, he noticed somehow that the sky was still a lovely shade of blue, and that one cloud had the shape of a sailing boat, and the tips of the trees held pale young buds and leaves which were a rich, deep green. Outside the window there was so much to see and hear and touch, and walks to take and hills to climb and caterpillars to watch as they strolled through the garden, There were voices to hear and conversations to listen to in wonder and the smell that made each day special. And in the very room in which he sat, there were books that could take you anywhere and things to maybe invent, to make and build and then break, and to all the puzzle and excitement of everything he didn't know, music to play and songs to sing and words to imagine and then someday make real. His thoughts darted eagerly about as everything he knew looked new and seemed worth trying. Well, I would like to make another trip, he said, jumping to his feet, but I really don't know when I'll have the time. There's just so much to do right here. Originally written and copyrighted in 1961 by Norton Juster, illustrations by Jules Feiffer.